Hello students, hope you all are doing well. Today we will extend our discussion of market structure. In the previous part of market structure, we have discussed perfect competition, and in this we will discuss about monopoly, monopolistic competition and oligopoly. This is under imperfect competition. As the name suggests, there may be some imperfections in the market which makes it imperfect. We will do monopolistic competition and oligopoly under this market structure, under imperfect competitive market structure. So let us start with the monopoly and see how the market behaves under monopoly market structure. Now this monopoly consists of two words, that's mono and polein. It has come from Greek word where mono means single and polein means seller. Together they mean single seller. Now let's define this monopoly. A market structure characterized by a single seller selling a unique product in the market. In a monopoly market, there is 0 degree of competition as he is the sole seller of goods with no close substitutes. He enjoys the power of setting the price for his goods. Now let's see essential characteristics of monopoly. A single seller, no close substitutes or a unique product. The entry is closed in monopoly market. The firm is the price maker, unlike perfect competition where the firms were price taker. And the firm may practice price discrimination as he is the sole seller in the market. So let's start with the first characteristics, that is the single seller. In monopoly market, there is a single firm which produces and supplies a unique product. This implies that the firm itself constitutes the entire industry. Since here there is a single firm, we can say that the entire industry is actually consisted by a single firm. So there is no distinction between the firm and the industry. Hence, the firm itself is the industry. Since there is a single seller in the market, his behavior will influence the price and the quantity of the output. So he has the high degree of power to influence the quantity of the product, price of the product and prices of the factors of production. Now the single seller itself is the industry. So this is all about the first characteristic of monopoly. The second one is no substitute product or unique product. Here in the monopoly market, the single seller produces and sells a unique product which has no close substitutes at all. This ensures that the seller faces no competition, as we have already said that there is a 0 degree of competition in the monopoly market, and this is supported by this characteristic. And both the characteristics, the single seller and unique product, support the third characteristic of the monopolistic competition, that is entry of other sellers in the market is restricted. Thus, another feature of monopoly is entry is closed. So in monopoly market, there are restrictions to entry of new firms. These restrictions may arise from natural, economical, legal or government policies. So what restricts the new entrants to enter the firm? Let us see one by one. The barriers of entry may be classified under natural restrictions, economic restrictions, legal restrictions and government policies. So let's see one by one what restricts the new entry. Let us first start. A natural monopoly exists when ownership of strategic raw materials is with one person or a group of people only. So in this case, they will have monopoly power to supply products made from that exclusive raw materials. Sometimes natural monopoly is also acquired in the sense that Only one person fulfills the whole market demand, so he puts up strong barriers in future for a new entrance. Example, a bus transporter on a particular route or a rail transport on a particular route or on all routes. Next is economic restrictions. A firm may produce at such a large scale that it may receive enormous economies of scale. The firm is in a position to sell off its product at a lower price. So, rival firms' entry is prohibited by the low cost competition. This is how the economies of scale helps and restricts the entry of potential firms. Next one is the limit pricing policy. The existing firms adopts a limit pricing policy, that is a pricing policy aiming at the prevention of new entry. Such a pricing policy may be combined with other policies such as heavy advertising or continuous product differentiation, which render entry unattractive. This is the case of monopoly established by creating barriers to new competitors. Another economic restriction is high startup costs. These costs are sunk costs that cannot be recovered when a firm exits the market, such as advertising and marketing costs and other fixed costs also. So, these are the economic restrictions which put barriers to the entry of new firms. The next restriction is the legal restrictions. When a firm acquires patent rights or copyrights, then they get legal monopoly to sell that particular commodity. Now, legal monopoly is promoted by institutions or government in different countries to promote innovations and help in making human life better. So, this is how the monopoly becomes legal monopoly. Another restriction is the government policies or government licensing. Government licensing or the imposition of foreign trade barriers to exclude foreign competitors leads to monopoly of firms for a particular product. This is done to protect domestic industry which are in nascent stage. So this is how government also puts barriers to the entry of new potential firms so that they can maintain social welfare also. So these are the restrictions which put barriers to the entry of new potential firms. The next feature of monopoly is that the firm is the price maker. Since the firm is the single firm in this market structure, he has the high degree of power to influence the quantity of commodity and subsequently the price. Therefore, the firm is the price maker. Another feature of monopoly is possibility of price discrimination, that the firm being the only seller of the unique product which has no close substitutes has tendency to practice price discrimination in the market. Price discrimination means that a firm charges different prices from different buyers for the same product. So there is a possibility of price discrimination also. Having discussed all the characteristics of monopoly, now we can give some examples. Let's see some of the examples of monopoly market structure. At the international level, one of the most classic examples of monopoly is a diamond company, De Beers. This is a South African company, the world's largest producer and distributor of diamonds. This company specializes in diamond exploitation, diamond mining, diamond retail, diamond trading and industrial diamond manufacturing sectors. So one of the best examples of monopoly at the international level. Now let's have some examples at the national level also. In India, Indian Railways is under the control of Government of India. So the Government of India has the absolute monopoly in railway transportation. The railroad industry is a natural monopoly sponsored by the Government of India. Their natural monopolies are allowed because it's most efficient and the public's best interest to help it flourish. This is because industry cannot support two or more major players given the unique product. At the state level, we have the Calcutta Electric Supply Corporation, the Punjab State Power Corporation, which supply the electricity to the state. So we can understand that how monopoly emerges and exists. The reason may be anything. It may be the natural restrictions, legal government licensing, it may be the cost factors or the market size or the limit pricing policy. So this is how the monopoly emerges and it exists, and the entry to new firms becomes absolutely impossible. So this is all about the monopoly market structure. Having discussed perfect competition and monopoly market structure, we can say that, or we can conclude that perfect competition and monopoly are opposite extreme of each other. So till 1920s, the classical theory of price included mainly two models of market, that is perfect competition and monopoly. But post 1920s, many felt that perfect competition does not fit to the real world market situation. The assumptions of homogeneous product and infinite growth due to falling cost were not visible practically. So the dissatisfaction gave rise to a long series of arguments and the publication of numerous articles which form the great cost controversy of the late 1920s. After this cost controversy, Professor Piero Sraffa developed a new theory of market called monopolistic competition and gave solutions regarding how to study imperfect behavior of the market. So let's start discussion on monopolistic competition. The monopolistic competition lies somewhere between the perfect competition and monopoly. Therefore, it has the components of both perfect competition and monopoly. So let's see what are the features of monopolistic competition. Large number of buyers and sellers, product differentiation, free entry and exit of firms, lack of perfect knowledge, selling cost, less mobility, more elastic demand, and independent price policy. Under this market structure, there are large number of buyers and sellers. However, the number is not as large as under perfect competition. Therefore, the firms have certain control over their price output policy, and it is also assumed that their actions are not affected by the reactions of the rival firms. So they have their own output and price policies. And on the other hand also, the number of buyers is too large to influence the product price through their individual demand. So buyers also don't have any power to influence the price. The next feature of monopolistic competition is differentiated products. This is one of the most important feature of this market structure. Basically, the products of different firms are not altogether different. They are slightly different from others. That means they are close substitutes of each other. Although each firm producing differentiated product has the monopoly of its own product, yet he has to face the competition since they are close substitutes. So, the product differentiation may be of size, shape, or any other feature which makes it different from others. Now let's see what exactly the product differentiation is. This is the key feature of monopolistic competition and we need to understand this. The product differentiation, that means different products. Product differentiation can be real or imaginary. As such, it may be real. For example, if you taste something for foodstuffs, it may be real or its quality, etc. But it may be imaginary also. Its packaging or shape or designs, maybe the product is same but its packaging, shapes, designs are different. So these are the imaginary differences of the product. So this is how the producers produce different products and make it different from others. For example, soaps, toothpaste of different brands. Then you have electronic goods of different brands. And we also have clothing of different brands, clothes of different brands. So this is how the product is differentiated from each other, and the producer has quite a good degree of power to influence its price by making it different from others. However, since the products are close substitutes and due to large number of sellers in the market, the firm under monopolistic market has power to influence its price to certain extent, not as in monopoly, but greater than that under perfect competition. So under monopolistic competition also, the firm is a price maker. This is the distinguishing feature of monopolistic competition, which makes it as a blending of competition and monopoly. The next feature is free entry and exit. Like perfect competition, the firms can enter or exit freely under monopolistic competition also. The firms will enter when the existing firms are making supernormal profits. With the entry of new firms, the supply would increase, which would reduce the price, and hence the existing firms will be left only with the normal profits. Similarly, if the existing firms are incurring losses, some of the marginal firms will exit. It will reduce the supply, due to which price would rise, and the existing firms will be left only with normal profit. This feature is similar to that of perfect competition, which we have already discussed in part 1 of the market structure. The next feature is selling cost. This is also a feature which plays an important role under this market structure. Firms operating under monopolistic competition, producing differentiated products, have to engage in advertising. This is to promote their product. Since the products are differentiated, the firms have to incur selling costs in the form of advertisements and let consumers to know their differences. This is a key feature of the monopolistic competition, that every firm tries to promote its product by different types of expenditures. Advertisements is the most important constituent of the selling cost, which affects the demand as well as cost of the product. The advertising may be through newspapers, it may be through television or online, or through banners and posters. So this is how they promote their products. Number 5 is lack of perfect knowledge. The buyers and sellers do not have perfect knowledge of the market. As we all know that there are many products available in the market, and we all do not know about each and every product available in the market. So there are innumerable products, each being a close substitute of the other. The buyers do not know about all these products, their qualities and their prices also. So there is lack of perfect knowledge under monopolistic competition. There is less mobility of the factors of production as well as the firms. Unlike perfect competition, under monopolistic competition, both the factors of production as well as the goods and services are not perfectly mobile. This is because all the products are not homogeneous products. Also, the firms have to incur selling cost, which may be a huge cost, and due to this they cannot move freely under monopolistic competitive market structure. The next feature of monopolistic competition is that the demand curve is more elastic or highly elastic. This implies that the firm under monopolistic competition has to reduce its price to sell more. Unlike perfect competition, where the firms were price takers, the firms under monopolistic competition are price makers. However, since the products that they make have lots of close substitutes, they have to reduce their price to sell more of its product. Another feature of monopolistic competition is independent output price policy. Now, under this market structure, the firm makes a unique product. It can charge a higher or a lower price than its rivals. The firm can set its own price and does not have to take it from the industry as a whole, though the industry price may be a guideline or becomes a constraint. Now, unlike perfect competition, the monopolistic firm has some degree of power to make or to influence its price and output, but not to a greater extent, since it produces a product which has large number of close substitutes. Therefore, it has to follow the guideline of the industry. This is all about the monopolistic competitive market, which helps us to study the imperfect behavior of the market. There is another market structure called oligopoly market, which lies somewhere between monopoly and monopolistic competition. Oligopoly is a market structure in which there are few sellers and many buyers selling either identical or differentiated products. There may be barriers to the entry, and firms are interdependent on each other. They incur selling cost, and the demand curve under oligopoly market structure is indeterminate. Let's discuss the features of oligopoly market. Number one is few sellers and many buyers. So there are few large firms, although the number of firms is not defined. There is cutthroat competition among the firms. This is because each firm produces a significant proportion of the total output of the industry. This feature makes oligopoly market slightly different from monopoly and monopolistic competition. As because there are few sellers in the market, each seller recognizes his interdependence on the others. Why this is so? Because there are few sellers and each firm has a significant proportion of the total output in the industry. So each firm's actions and reactions affect other rival firms. So in this, firms are interdependent. This is how the oligopoly market structure differs from perfect competition and monopolistic competition. The next feature of this market structure is homogeneous or differentiated products. The firms under this market produce either homogeneous or differentiated products. So, we can classify the oligopoly market under two heads, that is perfect oligopoly and imperfect oligopoly. The firms producing homogeneous products can or cannot form cartels or organizations to avoid any kind of competition and dominate the market together. It is a secret agreement among the firms or individuals to divide a market, set prices, limit production, or limit opportunities for other firms. On the other hand, under imperfect oligopoly, each firm has its independent price and output policy. However, since there are few firms in the industry, each firm recognizes its interdependence on the other firms. So, the firms have to follow the industry guidelines. Let me give you some examples of perfect oligopoly firms producing homogeneous products such as cement, steel, iron. These are the examples of perfect oligopoly. One more example of cartel is the OPEC, that is Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. On the other hand, the firms producing differentiated products are soft drinks, automobiles and airlines. So these come under imperfect oligopoly market structure. Next feature of oligopoly is barriers to entry. The most important barriers to entry are economies of scale, patents, access to highly expensive and advanced technology, and strategic policies of existing firms designed to discourage entry of potential firms. The other barriers to entry are special tax benefits to existing firms, patent rights, brand names or goodwill, and high customer switching costs. So these are the barriers to entry. The barriers may be classified under two heads: the natural barriers and the artificial barriers. We have already done this in monopoly market structure. Natural barriers include high cost of setting up the industry. Most existing firms enjoy economies of scale that makes it difficult for new entrants to compete with the existing firms. The existing firms also have the control of most of the factors of production or the raw materials. On the other hand, the artificial barriers may be the advertising and brand loyalty, low pricing policy to restrict the potential competitor, grip on expensive technology and requirement of permits and licenses to enter in the market, etc. So it becomes almost impossible for new entrants to enter this type of market where the existing firms have the absolute power over the raw materials, over the technology, expensive technology, and other benefits. So this is how only few firms are there in the industry who dominate the whole market and put restrictions on the entry of new firms. Another feature of oligopoly market is firms are interdependent on each other. As we have already studied and discussed that there are few firms in the oligopoly market, so they recognize the importance of the other firms' actions and reactions. So they recognize their mutual interdependence also. So each firm keeps a tight vigil on the actions and reactions of its rival firms while determining its price and output levels. So firms often collude or make cartel in an attempt to stabilize the unstable markets. Cartel means an agreement among competing oligopolists with the aim of reducing the uncertainty arising from their mutual interdependence. So the aim of cartel is profit maximization of the industry as well as individually. So one of the best examples of this would be OPEC, that is Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. So this is how they dominate the market as a whole. Under oligopolistic market competition, tendency of informal agreements are very high, in which they do not comfort each other directly or make any kind of deal, as it is illegal in most of the countries. Example, in India we have Commission of India to ensure healthy competition so that consumers are not exploited. Under informal agreement, firms don't meet each other but follow a particular price and output so that all of them can mutually maximize their profit level. Sometimes the competition between sellers in an oligopoly market can be fierce, with relatively low prices and high production. However, firms often collude in an attempt to stabilize unstable markets so as to reduce the risk inherent in these markets for investment and product development. So basically, all the firms under oligopoly market structure recognize their interdependence and therefore act and react accordingly. Another feature of oligopoly is selling cost. This is like under monopolistic competition, the firms have to incur selling cost. Since firms try to avoid price competition and there is a huge interdependence among firms, selling costs are highly important for promoting its product and competing against rival firms for a larger market share. This is because the products under oligopoly market structure are differentiated products. So firms needs to incur selling cost in order to sell his product and bringing his product in customers' knowledge. Therefore, the firms have to incur huge selling cost under oligopoly market. Another feature of this market structure is indeterminate demand curve. This is one of the most important feature of oligopoly market, which distinguishes it from other market structures. Under oligopoly, unlike other market forms, it is not possible to determine the demand curve of a firm. This is because of the huge interdependence of firms on each other's decisions regarding their output and price decisions. And on the other hand, there is uncertainty regarding the reaction of the rival firms. So, the rival firms can react in different ways when a firm changes its price, and that makes the demand curve indeterminate. So, this is why the demand curve under oligopoly market is indeterminate. Rather, it cannot be determined because of the uncertainty regarding the reactions of the rival firms in the market. So, each firm does not know how to react or what will be the reactions of the other firms when he lowers his price, reduces his price. So, that is why due to this uncertainty, the demand curve of oligopoly market structure cannot be determined. Having discussed all the market forms, all the different market forms, we can conclude that by market, it need not necessarily mean to be a specific location or place. Any arrangement will work which brings buyers and sellers in contact of each other so that mutual exchange could take place. Therefore, market is any place where buyer and sellers meet to trade products. Any business in a marketplace is likely to be in competition with other firms offering similar products. Therefore, markets are dynamic and not static. That is, they are always changing. And while analyzing a particular market, we have to take into account the features of that market, since no one market has the same structure. Therefore, the market structure depends on the following criteria: the nature of the product, the number of firms in the industry, and the freedom of entry and exit of firms to and from the industry. So, on the basis of these criteria, we have discussed the different forms of market structure. This is all about the theory of market, in which we have discussed different forms of market structure. In the next part of the theory of market or market structure, we will discuss the equilibrium under the perfect competition. Till then, goodbye and good luck.